The Legend of Wintervale. An old tale the townfolk would tell their kids who would stay up past their bedtime, or kids who would disobey their parents' rules. They would tell their children of a man who would come visit them while they were asleep and take them for himself, or he would take something dear to them, something they treasured the most. I couldn't quite remember every little detail, but from what I do remember, it goes a little something like this. Every 100 years, a man will visit a town named Wintervale, a small little town holding the population of just 200. It is always cold here, but the townspeople eventually learn to tolerate it after so many years. The man who visits has no name, no background, nor does he have any history of where he comes from. The visitor of Wintervale is a complete mystery. He is said to wear a gray-colored vest with a long brownish overcoat, long dark gray slacks with dress shoes to match, gloves to prevent his fingers from numbing due to the relentless cold air, a brown hat to match with his coat, and finally, a cane he kept by his side. Appearing to come off as a resident from the city, he will enter the town and targets people who walks alone. Some of the townfolks wander the path that led to various buildings, such as shops, homes, food providers. There would even be people coming out of others' home to return to their own. Once he picked a victim, he will approach them and start a conversation. The conversations he engages with are so very detailed and intriguing that it almost sends you into a state of hypnosis. During this conversation, it is vital that you try to end it quickly, because if not, you will find yourself inviting him into your home, and that is when things are already too late. What he does to his victims are unknown, and he never leaves a trace of them, not even the slightest. You wouldn't even know someone was taken away. The house will look just as it did before, and the townsfolk will continue on with their life as if the person never existed. Nobody knows what the visitor is capable of doing to the townspeople. Did he kill them, abduct them, or take them somewhere else far away? Who knows? So many questions from various of people, but yet, all remain unanswered. All but one. My name is Sophia Winfield, and this is my story of my encounter with the Legend of Wintervale. It was late, around 9 p.m. I should say, and the sun had just slowly extinguished from the sky. I sat by the fire in the living room, humming various lullabies that my mom sung to me every night before bed. The fire felt so warm and refreshing that it made me want to stay in that exact spot forever. But I knew I would eventually have to get up and go to bed. As I sat by the fire, I looked out the window to see the rest of the townspeople entering their homes and shutting out their lights for the night. "Alright, honey, it's time for bed," my mom said in a very low voice. Her voice always sounded so comforting, sweet, the type of voice you would want to listen to for the rest of your life. I sighed and got up, wrapping the loose part of my blanket around me and heading upstairs with my mom. Her hand felt so smooth, her grip light and delicate as she guided me upstairs. Everything about my mom was completely and utterly beautiful. Magnificent, if you will. Sometimes I wonder why my dad would ever leave a woman like her. We got to my room and she tucked me into bed. She sat down next to me, stroking the little strand of hair that ran down my face behind the back of my ear while she gave a small, reassuring smile. She then leaned down and gave me a kiss on my forehead before telling me goodnight. "Oh, Mom, what about one of your bedtime songs?" I said, lifting the blanket over my mouth, muffling every word. My mom chuckled and turned off the lights. "Not tonight, sweetie. Mommy is tired, and I have to get up early tomorrow. Good night, Sophia," she said, closing the door with the same smile she had moments ago. What hurts me the most is the sheer fact that I will never be able to see that same smile ever again. I awoke to the sound of one of the wooden floorboards being stepped on and pushed down. "Oh, Mommy?" I said in a sleepy voice while rubbing my eyes, trying to get a clear vision of my bedroom door. I heard the sound of footsteps coming from the front door and into the living room. The footsteps sounded heavy, but light as a feather, and with the sound of tapping before each step. That's when I heard my mom's voice. Come in. I'll prepare some nice warm tea for you."
"Ah, that would be lovely. I give you my thanks, Miss Winfield."
Almost all feelings of tiredness strayed away from my body as I fully set myself up. A visitor at this time of hour? I stepped slowly off my bed and tiptoed to my door, opening it ever so slightly. Laughter. I could hear my mom laughing with whoever was downstairs. What is she doing up? I thought she would have been sleeping. Did she go out to grab something? I questioned myself. She would sometimes make quick trips to the nearby dairy department, but she has never invited someone over this late before. "Oh, you're too diverting, Mr. Sorry, I missed your name. What was your name again?" I heard the sound of our couch squeak, indicating that whoever was down there was now standing up, slowly.
"Oh, it's okay. Never mind that, Miss Winfield. In fact, I've come to talk more about you if you like."
It was the sound of a man's voice. His voice sounded so smooth, calm, and righteous. "Oh, stop it. Please, what's there to talk about? I'm just a little old woman trying to make it by in this small little town of ours." The man chuckled.
"Ah, yes, that does seem to be true. Say, do you live alone, Miss Winfield?"
Now, I don't know why, but the way he asked this question made me take a few steps back. No. In fact, I live with my daughter. Oh dear, I should have mentioned her before. Sorry about that. How selfish of me." I heard the man approach the bottom of the stairs.
"Oh, no,
he said slowly.
"Don't say that, Miss Winfield. It's late. You're probably tired. That being the reason your daughter may have slipped your mind."
"Ah, you're so sweet, Mr. Sorry, but I'm still kinda curious what your name is." The man walked away from the stairs and back into the living room.
"Now, what did I say, Miss Winfield? I am here to talk about you, not me. You understand that, yes?" I know what I said about his voice before, but this time, he sounded demanding, more formidable than calm. "Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Maybe it is a little too late. I should actually be getting some rest myself for tonight." I approached my door once more and peered out. I saw the man walked over to my mom. "Very well then. Allow me to repay you for your kindness."
"What? Repay me? Nonsense. I'm just doing what we should all do around here, and that is to treat one another with kindness." The man leaned down over my mom. It was only then that I realized he was dressed like the same man from the story, The Legend of Wintervale. Same coat, vest, gloves, even the same dress shoes. His hat was there as well, but he slowly took it off while balancing himself with his cane.
"Ah, yes, kindness.
Though, what I'm about to give you is more than just a kind act, you would call it.
Oh, okay. And what is it that you're going to give me, Mr.?
Before my mom could finish her sentence, the man threw his cane to the side and grabbed both sides of my mom's face.
What are you doing?
Oh, it's nothing special. What I'm about to give you, Miss Winfield, is death.
I watched as his mouth began to open. His cheeks ripped open as his mouth expanded more and more, revealing teeth that were sharp and stained with blood. His fingers burst through his glove and wrapped around my mom's head as it took a big, ginormous chomp out of my mom's upper body. I gasped, and I saw the man's eyes shift over towards me. His eyes weren't normal. In fact, they were fully filled with black, and their irises burned a deep, fierce color of orange and red. I can tell he was looking at me through the dark. His staring terrifies me and made me feel as if I was paralyzed, bound from movement. I watched as the man swallowed my mom's upper body and flung her lower half to the side. His hand shrunk back to the normal size, and his mouth slowly closed and did the same. The rips in his vest and coat magically formed back into a neat pattern as he picked up his hat and positioned it carefully on the top of his head. He then picked up his cane and walked over to me with a short yet long stride. Then he got to the stairs. "Shh," he told me quietly, with a finger over his lips. With one hand, he grabbed the side of the wall and took a great big lunge up the stairs. I still couldn't move, just stood there, looking up at him while tears were falling from my face. My eyes drifted to the bottom of the stairs, and then towards the living room, to where I saw my mom's lower half, with her insides poured out across the floor. The man grabbed my lower chin and lifted my head.
Now, child. You mustn't look. Try to focus on me.
His voice sounded just as reassuring as my mother's.
Why don't you, ever so kindly, do me a favor and go back to your room, okay?
I listened. For some odd reason, I listened. And all the fear, all the sadness, it all went away as I turned and approached my room.
That's a good girl. Now, crawl into your bed and wait for sunrise. I'll be back for you tomorrow. Good night,
he said, closing my bedroom door. I laid there and listened. I listened to the sound of the rest of my mom's body being devoured by the visitor, bones cracking, and the rest of her flesh being torn apart. Though I wanted to, I couldn't cry, nor could I scream or call for help. Just laid there. I heard the man walk to the front door and exit my house. After a few minutes of staring at my ceiling, eventually, I drifted off to sleep. I awoke the next morning, remembering nothing that happened the night before. I got up and went downstairs, ready to see my mom sitting on the couch, drinking her favorite morning tea. However, she wasn't there. In fact, there was no sign of her anywhere. I looked throughout the house, even got dressed and searched the town as well. But she was nowhere to be found. The day went by. The townsfolk desperately looked for my mom's whereabouts, but eventually, they gave up. With a deep sigh, I returned back home and plopped myself onto the couch, crying heavily into the cushion. That is when I heard him, the visitor, chuckling outside my window. Outside in the darkness.
Yes, this is more suiting for you. Now, be a good little girl and never speak of what happened. Or the next time I visit, I won't be as nice. If I ever found out you said anything, oh, and I will, be sure to see me much, much more sooner than before. Take care now, Sophia.
It's been 20 years since then. I'm a grown woman now and have a husband with a daughter of my own. I still live in the same town, and I still stand accompanied in my childhood home with my family. Now, I didn't think about writing this until I noticed something on the wall by the stairs. Something I never noticed before. Claw marks. I am writing this now as a warning to all the townfolk who live inside Wintervale, and even to the travelers who have come to visit. If you see a man dressed in a gray vest, brownish overcoat, gray slacks with dress shoes to match, a hat to appear as formal, and a cane to top it off, run. There's no telling whether you're going to be next.
Okay, this should be enough,
said Sophia, scooting back away from her desk, ready to warn the people of Wintervale of the danger that resides amongst them. That is... when she felt a cold yet warm hand on her shoulder.
I thought I told you I'd find out, didn't I, Miss Winfield?